Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Victor, and in this video I'm gonna build a login with Google plugin for WordPress. And in this picture I try to explain the logic behind this plugin. So here on the left side we see the user. So whenever the user will access our website for the first time, this is gonna be the web page they will see. So on the web page we will have a login with Google. This is what they will see whenever they're not logged in. So this is the first time they access the website. So whenever they click on this login with Google button, our website is going to redirect the user to Google. Google is going to ask the user to provide a valid email and password, and after they do so, Google is going to redirect the user back to our WordPress website, and at the same time it's going to send the Google user data from Google. And we will receive the data on our website using a WordPress AJAX, which is going to be like a callback. We will create this WordPress AJAX callback in our plugin. So having the data in our WordPress AJAX action, WordPress is going to create a new user, it's going to insert it in a database, and then after that is going to redirect the user to the home page, to the first web page. But in this case, the user is going to be logged in and it won't see any more login with Google. It will see hi Victor, and there's gonna be a logout link. So I just put here Victor just because, you know, my user's name is Victor, so I just left it like that, but in this case it's gonna be a dynamic name. Alright, so here I have a live demo. I have WordPress installed on my local host. I'm using HTTPS here just because Google accepts HTTPS and it's easier to work with Google whenever you have an HTTPS here. You can just put, if you don't have an HTTPS installed, just because I don't have one here, I just put HTTPS, and Google Chrome said that, you know, this website is unsecure. There was an advanced button. Click on that advanced button and proceed unsafe. Okay, so here's the demo. I have this login with Google button. So if I click on this button here, it's gonna my website redirects me to accounts.google.com. So here it's saying choose an account. So I click on this account here. Now it's saying choose a password. So here I'm gonna paste my password. I will click next, and this is going to redirect me back to the home page. It actually redirected me to the AJAX action, which is, it was really quick and we couldn't see that here happening in the browser. But it redirected me on the last step is redirecting the user to the home page, and I see here hi Victor, and I have this logout button. So if I log out now, it's asking me log out. We'll go back here and I'm gonna see login with Google again. Alright, so this is the demo. I'm gonna write everything from scratch, so in case you wanna follow along with me, there is gonna be a link in the description from where you can grab the source code. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm in my WordPress content / plugins folder. So here I'm gonna create a folder and I will name it WP Google login, and I will open it, cd WP Google login, and I'll open my VS Code in here. So basically what I'm doing now, I'm creating a plugin. Let me just adjust this window here really quick. Okay, so in this folder I'm going to create a new file, and this is going to be login.php, and here basically I'm going to paste a comment, which is the following. This is the plugin name. This is very important because WordPress reads this comment, and this is the way WordPress knows all these details about this plugin. So the plugin name is login with Google. Description: this plugin will add a login with Google button. Plugin URI, which is my website. Author, my name, version here, and then below here we will stop the direct access to this file. We don't want anybody to be able to access it, so let's do here don't access this file directly. So we'll have defined, and here's going to be ABS path, or die, like this. Alright, so if I save it now and I go back to my dashboard under plugins, I'm gonna see this plugin here, login with Google, this plugin, blah 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 blah, so I can activate it. Now activate it. I don't see anything on the home page yet. I'm actually going to remove, let's see. So I don't have anything on my home page, it's just the website's name. Okay, now the plugin is activated. What I want to do now is I want to create a project. So to create a project, you should go under console.developers.google.com. There's gonna be a link in the description. So you go to this Google subdomain and you create a new project. So if you click here, you can create new project. First of all, you may not see this. There may be like a pop-up with something saying about consent screen or something like that. So just make sure you follow those steps and set up your consent screen, and then after that just go, access this link and create new project. And here you choose a name, 3 projects remaining in your quota, request and increase or delete projects. Okay, so here you choose a new name, which is going to say Vicode. I'm gonna say Vicode tutor. No organization, create. This is gonna create all this stuff here. Okay, so whenever this is done, just click on credentials, and then from here just click on create credentials, Oauth client ID, so you click there, and now application type, web application, and name you can change it if you want to. Authorize JavaScript origins, we can just leave it like this for now. And what's the most important here is the authorized redirect URL. So let's click add URL, and in this URL I'm going to paste the following link, which is https localhost/wordpress-admin/admin-ajax.php !action vm_login_Google. So this is the AJAX callback. This is the action, AJAX action I'm going to create in this video. It's a custom AJAX action. So after this, I'll just press enter, and this is gonna say that the OAuth client created. I'll click OK, and this is here. It's web client 3 because I didn't update the name. So we have it here. I'll just click edit, and I will have this client ID and client secret. I'm gonna need this in my application. The next step is to download the Google API's PHP Client library. There's gonna be a link in the description for this repository. You can search for it. It's called Google API PHP Client. So here I want to download the one. They have versions for different PHP versions. So in my case it's PHP 7.4. So I'm gonna download this file from here. And I have this file in here, so I will unzip it. And I will rename this folder to Google-API. I will copy it, and I'm gonna go to my server, htdocs, content. I'm going to my plugin folder, and I will paste it here. Okay, so it's done. Now I'm gonna open my VS Code, and here I'm gonna start working on my plugin. Here I'm going to call the SDK library we just posted here, which is Google API. So I will leave a comment here. I will say Google app configuration, and I will say here call SDK library, and here I'm gonna have require once, and there's require once, and here I'm gonna have Google-API/vendor/autoload.php. underscore because if I open this folder, I'm gonna have Google API, vendor, and the autoload.php. We want to fire this file. Okay, after this, we will have to add the credentials of our project. So we created our project here. Now we need to use all these credentials and create all this configuration for our app. So let's go back here, and there's gonna be a new variable which is gonna be G client, and we will assign a new object, Google client. That's the Google object coming from the SDK app. And here, using the Google client, we will set the client ID. And then we will, let's see, making sure we don't misspell. Then we will have four more configurations. The first one is set client ID, and then we will have set client secret, and then here we will have set application name, and then set the redirect URI. So we have set URI. And then here is going to be add scope. Okay, so let's start with the set client ID. Let's go back to our project. We have the client ID here, so I'm gonna copy it from here and I will paste it here. Then we need the client secret, so I'm going back here, and this is the client secret over here. I will copy it and paste it here. Then the application name, I want to say Bytecode Media. The set redirect URI, this is the URL I added over here, so I'm just gonna copy it from here and I will paste it here like this. And the scopes, Google has multiple scopes, so here's the page with the scopes. You can find this in the description as well. So we have different scopes here using the Google API, access content, context manager, API, but the scopes I'm gonna use here is the plus login. So oops, sorry about that. It's the plus login and the email. So let's see, user info.email, I'm gonna use this one, and the other one is the login, but it's not in here because Google has so many other pages. So but I just want to show you from where I got these scopes. So I'm gonna go back here and I will paste these two scopes. So here what I have, this is the plus.login and then the user info.email. Okay, and then after I have this done, I want to create an auth URL. So I'm gonna have a login URL here, and I will have a login underscore URL, and I'm gonna assign G client create auth URL like this. Okay, I have this in place. So now I can say, for example, var dump login URL, because I want to see what it has and if everything works fine. So if I'm going back to the page, if I refresh this page, I can see there's a URL here, a long URL. So which is good. This is the URL we're getting from Google. This is the authentication URL. Okay, now I want to generate a login with Google button. So in this way, I'm going to add a shortcode. I will say generate button shortcode. So here I'm gonna have add shortcode, and the shortcode is going to be Google login, and this Google login is gonna call a function. This function is going to be vm underscore login underscore with underscore Google, and it's gonna get no parameters, so I'm gonna copy it and paste it here. So whenever I use this Google login shortcode, this function is gonna be fired, and this function is here, so I'm gonna add some functionality here. Now first of all, I want to make the login URL variable global, so I can access the data from here into my function. And then here I'm gonna have a variable which is gonna be btn content, which means button content. I will add some CSS here. It's style, it's style tag and Google button CSS. Just add display table, center it, background color blue, padding 15 pixels, border radius 3 pixel, and color white. Then after this, below this line, I'm gonna have an if statement which is going to check if the user is logged in or not. So I'm gonna have if it's different than is user logged in, and this is a WordPress predefined function. If it's different than is logged in, that means the user is not logged in. And then here I want to check if registration is closed. So I'm gonna have another if statement which is gonna check if it's different than get option, and the option is users can register. If it's different than this, then I'm going to return, let's say, button content concatenate, and actually I don't need this actually here. We'll say just registration is closed, like this. Else I'm going to return button content. I'm gonna concatenate, and here I'm gonna have href and here I'm going to have a class too, and the class is going to be Google button. It's this class from here, that's why I assigned this button content in the return function. And then the href is going to be, let's concatenate it, and I'm gonna have here the login URL, and here it's going to say login with Google. We have this in place. And then here, if the user is not logged in, then I'm gonna grab if user, so we check here, is user logged in. If it's different than is user logged in, that means if the user is not logged in. But else, if the user is logged in, then I'm gonna grab the current user. So I have a current user, and here I'm gonna use wp underscore get underscore current underscore user. So I'm grabbing the current user, and I will have a return here button content. Of course I need the CSS from there, and I'm going to have div class Google button. I'm gonna use the same styling for this section, and Google button, and then here I'm gonna say hi, and I will concatenate like this, and I will say current user, and I want to grab the first name from the current user. Alright, I'm gonna have this, and then here I'm gonna have an href, and this is gonna say logout, and the logout action is actually the following. It's /wp login.php action logout, like this. So let's make sure this works. I'm gonna grab this code from here, I saved the file. I'm going back here. I'm going to my page var dump. Just make sure we remove the var dump from there. Okay. And I'm going to my pages. Okay, there's an error expanding on the 50 here. Semicolons. I forgot the semicolons. You probably already saw it, guys. Okay, so I'll go back, refresh one more time. So under my pages, there's a home page, which is the front page, and here I'm going to insert a shortcode, and I will paste the shortcode here. I'll update. I'm gonna go back here and I'll refresh the page, and I'm gonna have hi, but for some reason it's not showing the it's not showing my name, so I probably misspelled something here. No, actually I didn't, because I don't have a name. So if I'm going to the dashboard and I check under my users, I don't have a name here. Let me just delete this user from here. Okay, I don't have a name here under name. So if I edit and I add my first name, let's say Victor, and here Russo, and I update it, and if I go back and refresh, I'm gonna have hi Victor here. Okay, so what I want to do now, I'm gonna log out. Yes, log out, go back to Vycode Media website, and I see this login with Google button. Okay, so if I click here, it's gonna say choose an account. I choose an account, and it redirected me to localhost wp admin AJAX action. This is the action I added right here. Okay, so now we should create this action and store this data, because right now we're getting a code here. This code is from Google, and this code contains all the information from Google. Okay, so to do that, let's go back to our file here, and let's add the AJAX action. Add AJAX action. So we'll have, first of all, there's going to be a function, and this function is going to be VM, which means Vycode Media login Google, no parameters, but here we will have to fire it. So it's going to be add action. So the action is going to be WP. This is very important, the way you write it here. WP, it's required underscore AJAX underscore. This is required. Okay, this is how we create a custom AJAX URL. And then here is VM, that's from Vycode Media. I use it as a prefix to make sure it's unique. And then a login underscore Google. Okay, and then the next one is the function, which is this function. So this function is going to get fired. So whenever we access this AJAX action, this function is going to be fired, and then this function here can have some coding to be executed. So we have global. There's a global variable which is Google Client, because I want to grab all this data from here and to use it in this function. And then here I'm gonna have an if statement. So this is gonna be if is set get code. Okay, if it detects that there's a code in the get method and the code is not empty, then we assign the code to a token variable. So we'll have token, and we assign dClient, and here's the function. It's called fetch access token with auth code. Okay, and here I'm gonna put this get code like this from the get method. Now here I'm gonna just do var dump to make sure I'm getting this token. I will save it. I'll go back and just refresh it. Okay, for some reason it's not letting me access this AJAX, just because by default WordPress doesn't allow anybody who is not logged in to access the AJAX actions. So we will give access to this. Now we will give access to this action for unauthorized users. So in order to do that, I'm gonna paste it here, but you can pause the video and just copy it. So allow logged out users to access admin_ajax.php action. So here we have function add Google AJAX action, and there's an action here. We add an action, and the action is the following. This is very important. This is wp_ajax_no priv, which means not private. Make it not private, and this is the action that we want to make it not private, which is our action here. Make sure they match. And then this is also the action name. Okay, add action. Okay, and then here we have another add action, admin init, and we fire this function in the admin init. Okay, alright, so I'm gonna save it, and if I go back now here and refresh, I'm gonna get this token. Right now it's giving me access. It's allowing me to access it. So I'm getting this token from Google Access token. Now, having this token, I can store this data. You know, I can store it in a database. I can create a new user and store it in a database. So I'm gonna remove this var dump from here. I'm gonna check another if statement here. I'm gonna have if it's different than set token, and here error. So if it doesn't detect any errors in the token, then that means that everything is fine. So here we're just getting the data from Google. So we'll have get data from Google. So I'm gonna have a Oauth variable. I'm gonna assign a new object, and the new object is going to be Google _service _Oauth2, and the parameter is the G client. And then here I'm gonna have user data, and I will assign the Oauth variable to this user data, and I will call the user info like this, user info _v2, which means version 2, and me, this method, and then the get. So what I'm doing here, basically I'm grabbing the user data from the Oauth object, which is Google service Oauth2, and I'm assigning all this to user data. Now in the user data I can do a var dump to see what I'm getting in the user data. So if I go here and refresh, not getting anything. If it's different, okay, let's make sure. If different than set token error. Okay, everything looks fine, but I think we should refresh the page. So refresh the page, go back to your home page, refresh the page, and click on login with Google again. Okay, so here we go. Just we had to refresh because Google had to generate a new code for us. There is also a session of availability for this code. Okay, so here's the data we're getting from Google. That's I'm gonna do here something like this. Just to make it prettier. So I'll save it and go back now if I refresh. I'm not gonna get anything just because I need to generate a new code. So here's the data I'm getting from Google now. Family name, I don't have a family name here. Verified email. I'm getting the email. I'm getting the family name. I'm getting the given name, which is my first name. I'm getting the ID, the Google ID. So I'm gonna store this ID as a login on my WordPress website. So there's a name, which is full name kind of thing, like Victor Rusu. Picture, I'm getting a picture here. So if I copy this URL from here, for example, and I paste it here, this is the avatar from my Google account, And that's kind of it, just getting email, first name, last name, and the picture. So that's what I need. That's what I need to create my WordPress user. Now here I'm gonna just delete this stuff, and I'm going to check if there is already a user registered with the email that I'm trying to log in with from Google. Okay. Check if user email exists or already registered. Okay, so here I'm gonna have if it's different than email underscore exists, and I will put here user data, and I will use email. So if it's different than this, that means that there is no user with this email. So here I'm gonna generate password. So I'm gonna generate the password in the following way. I'm going to have a bytes, first of all bytes variable. I will open SSL random pseudo bytes, so I'll generate the bytes here, and then I will have a password variable, and I'm gonna use the MD5 codification, and I'm gonna use the bin2 hex predefined function to generate a password from the byte. So this is gonna give me a long password that I can store in the database. And then here I'm gonna have user login variable, and I will assign to this user login the ID from Google. So I'm gonna have user data ID. Okay, then below here I'm gonna create a new user. So I'm gonna have a variable which is going to be new underscore user underscore ID, and I will assign here WP underscore insert underscore user, and here I'm gonna have an array, and in this array I'm gonna have, let's see, I have two parentheses. So here's what I'm gonna have in this array over here. It's gonna be user login, which is the user login here, which is the user ID from Google. Password, user pass, it's password. User email is the email from Google from user data. First name, user given name from user data. Last name is the family name from user data. User registered, that's the today's date with the right now timing. And the role is subscriber. You can put here administrator, or I don't recommend you making that, but you can change the role if you wish so, if you need to do so in your project. And then after this, I'm gonna check I will have a new statement. So if new user ID, if everything went well and this function fired with no errors, that means that I want to send an email to the admin, and here's gonna I will use WP underscore new underscore user underscore notification, and here I'm going to have new underscore user underscore ID. Oh, what the heck am I doing here? Okay, this is supposed to be the parameter, so new user ID. Okay, and then after this I'm gonna log the new user in. Okay, so to do so we will have to use do action. Do action will have WP underscore login. This is the first parameter. The second parameter is the user login, and the third parameter is user data, and it's the email, like this. Now here we want to set the current user and to set the cookies. So to do that, we will do WordPress WP underscore set underscore current underscore user. So we will set the new registered user, and then after that we will set cookies in the browser. So to do that, we will use WP underscore set underscore auth underscore cookie, and here's the new user ID. The user just registered, and here needs to be true. Okay, and then after this we want to send user to homepage after we log the user in. So to do that, we'll use WP underscore redirect, and here we'll have home underscore URL like this, and then exit. Okay, so we send it like that. Here we have this if statement. This is in case this email it doesn't exist and we just have to register a new user with all this data from Google. But if our script detects that there's already a user registered with this email, we just want to do the following. We will just if user already registered, then we are just logging in the user. So we'll sign get user by email. We get all the data from the database by the user email and assign everything to user. Then here we just do action WordPress login. So we're logging in the user using user object and user login and the user email. And then WordPress set current user. We're setting the current user using the user ID from the database. And then we set cookies here, and we just redirect the user to the home page. Okay, so we do all this stuff only in case there isn't any error in the token. If in the token is an error, then we have an else here, and here we will just redirect the user to the home page. So we will have WP underscore redirect home URL like this, and then just exit. Just want to exit everything. Okay, so let's save this. Let's make sure we don't have any errors. So I'm just gonna access the first page. So I have login with Google. Okay, login with Google, everything's fine. Click login with Google, and here we go. I just clicked it. I mean, it didn't ask me for Google password or anything. So if I'm going here on the dashboard, you can see I have this stuff here, but I'm just gonna log out, and I will log in using my admin user. So I'm going under users, and I'm gonna see this user here. Okay, so let me delete it. I will delete this user. I will log out from here. I will go back to the home page. So I'm going to google.com, and I will log out from this account just to see the full process. Okay, I'll refresh now, login with Google. So I'm going to Google, click my user, I will paste my password, click next. This redirects me right to my home page, and I have hi Victor. This data is all from Google. Okay, so if I'm going to my dashboard, I will click log out, and I'll log in as an admin. So I have admin one here. I'm going to users. This is my user. I have this user ID. It's crazy. You need to have a unique username, because users can use this username to log in. So this needs to be unique. And okay, so I have this user here in place. Now what I'm gonna do, I will try to log in again with the same user email. So I'm going to the home page, refresh. So if I click now and log in with Google, it redirects me to the home page, like before. So I'm gonna click log out, and I'm gonna log in using my admin account. So if I'm going under users, I'm not gonna see another user, because my script detected that there is already a user with this email, and it just bounced me. It jumped from this tab, jumped all this stuff to here, and it just logged me in. Okay, so that's it, guys, for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.